loudly. It is not in your place to be rich as when you pick certain roles. It is out of passion. It is out of a calling. So let's not compare, because if we do, all of us will become politicians. And where would our society be, right? And we quickly go to the leadership newspaper this morning. Mixed reaction trail by election results as APC dominates. Ruling party wins 12 seats, ABGA 2, PDP 1, NNPP 1. INEC declares Zamfara Assembly poll inconclusive. PDP, NNPP reject Kanu rerun results. CSOs, others pick holes. Tinubu, Speaker Abbas hail winners. INEC. Moving away from that story, above the masthead of the leadership newspaper this morning, Tinubu governors ACF mourn as Zuru Emir dies at 81. Don't panic over heavy security deployment, FCTA tells residents. Now, if you have noticed, for some of us who are in Abuja, driving around, we've been seeing heavy security. Well, to hear more about that story, go to page 4 of the leadership newspaper. Why do we have that? Is it just a reinforcement that's necessary? Let's get to understand the reason why there's heavy security. Why IBB house remains Mecca for all, Jonathan is saying. Why IBB house remains Mecca for all. I switched off my phone on board on board. Freed Ibom Air passenger Imanson claims. I switched off my phones on board. Freed Ibom Air passenger claims. That's on page 19, speaking about the incident that happened about a week ago of the young lady whose video went viral as she was being dragged out of the airplane, allegedly after harassing airport staff and all that. Northern groups tackle Babachir over attack on Tinubu. You will get justice. Dabiri Erewa assures Nigerian workers abused in car. Army appoints new GOC PSOs. And that's it for the leadership newspaper. We quickly move on now to the This Day newspaper. By-election results, APC sweeps 12 constituencies, ABGA 2, PDP 1, NNPP 1. And the rider here says, elated Tinubu rejoices, hails INEC for hitch-free polls, commends electorate for voting APC. Victory is endorsement of the president's ruling party boasts. ADC alleges intimidation, corruption. LP says it's mockery of democracy, travesty of justice. PDP chief dismisses exercise as fraud. DSS gets kudos over recent major breakthroughs in fight against insecurity. And above the masthead, or at the footer of the newspaper here, we have Tinubu, Atiku, Bago, David Mark rejoice with ex-military leader IBB at 84. Tinubu, Atiku, Bago, David Mark rejoice with ex-military leader IBB at 84. Quickly, we move to the Daily Times newspaper. Nigeria needs a 22% annual growth to achieve $1 trillion economy by 2030. Noremberger is saying Nigeria needs 22% annual growth to achieve $1 trillion economy by 2030. At the footer of the Daily Times newspaper, we have here by-elections, mockery of democracy, rehearsal for 2027. That's coming from the Labour Party. Rice production, farmers blame high price on cartel middlemen. Rice production, farmers blame high price on cartel middlemen. I guess we would be talking about cartel even in the agricultural sector. Quite unfortunate. Private sector credit falls by 1.69 trillion naira to 76.14 trillion naira in June. That story is on page 12. Tinubu appoints Opeyemi Agbaje, Pencom chairman, as Pencom assets hit 24 trillion naira. Shetima mourns Emir of Zuru. Abga wins senatorial seat in Anambra by elections, and that's it for the Daily Times this morning. Quickly, we move to the Tribune newspaper. The Nigerian Tribune Still speaking about the by-elections we had over the weekend, says APC consolidates ahead of 2027 race. Wins big in Kano, Adamawa, Soludo's Abga shows strength in Anambra. PDP wins Oyo rep seat first time in 18 years. ADC humbled in Anambra. APC, NNPP maintain rivalry in Kano. PDP in dire straits in Edo. Zamfara poll declared inconclusive. Our electoral process has deteriorated under Tinubu, ADC alleges. Results are a vote of confidence in Tinubu, our party. APC retreats. Well, shake up in army. The chief of army staff redeploys top generals. Moving away from that story, cyber criminals, EFCC, immigration deports dozens of Chinese Filipinos. Okay, immigration, EFCC deports dozens of Chinese and Filipinos. Wondering why that's going on? That story is on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Custom intercepts containers loaded with 130 million naira expired pharmaceutical drugs. Wow. Health. Caffeine can reduce effectiveness of certain antibiotics. Study have shown. That's for some of you who have become addicted to caffeine. July 2025 inflation report. Despite gains, pressures persist. CPPE is saying urges policy mix calls for stronger fiscal, monetary, structural reforms as inflation slows to 21.88% in July. Estate surveyors, others pick holes in new Lagos, Tennessee bill. Finally, the last paper we'll be taking is the Punch newspaper. The Punch takes us to workers' compensation. Says federal government backtracks as NLC holds ground. NSITF moves to avert strike. Says AGF will refund workers. NLC leaders meet. Nigeria deports 42 convicted Chinese Philippine cyber criminals. And at the footer of the Punch newspaper this morning, it says NCPC resumes Israeli pilgrimage with 50% subsidy. NCPC resumes Israeli pilgrimage with 50% subsidy. 2 Nigerians die of suspected poisoning in Libya. ICRC issues new PPP guidelines for MDAs. And above the masthead of the Punch newspaper this morning, APC opposition clash over by-election results in 12 states. And the riders under that story says Tinubu hails winners. INEC as PDP, NNPP, ADC rejects result, threaten lawsuit. I think they are going to court. Go to court. Remember that. Shipping crisis delays Dangote's 3,550 CNG trucks. And that's it for the newspaper review segment this morning. Like I told you earlier, it is time for sustainability pulse with Ebaide. So stay tuned. We'll go for a short break to return with sustainability pulse. We'll be right back after that.
Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide, the show where truth meets urgency and action meets hope. Together, we decode the data, amplify the change makers, and reclaim Africa's future, one story at a time. This is not just a show, it is a movement. Welcome to the Pulse. Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide, the show where truth meets urgency and action meets hope. Together, we decode the data, amplify the change makers, and reclaim Africa's future, one story at a time. This is not just a show, it is a movement. Welcome to the Pulse.
Good morning and welcome to Sustainability Pulse with Abide, your trusted space for conversations that matter to our planet, our communities, our shared future. This is truly special moment in Africa's sustainability journey, to be honest. And in just a few weeks, the diplomatic capital of Africa will become the capital of the world as a host to powerful, interconnected gatherings that place Africa, that place Africa right at the heart of the global climate agenda. Ladies and gentlemen watching, it's From Ambition to Action conversation today. From September 1st to 6th, Addis Ababa will host the United Nations Framework on the Convention on Climate Change Africa Climate Week at the Addis Ababa International Convention Center. And immediately after that, from September 8th to 10th, the second African Climate Summit under the theme, Accelerating Global Climate Solutions, Financing for Africa's Resilient and Green Development, will take place. But here's what makes this unprecedented. Separate events happening in the same city. This is Africa orchestrating a strategic, unified climate movement that will reshape how the world sees our continent's role in climate leadership. So, we'll go on a very short break, and when we're back, we'll be unpacking the conversations and, of course, giving you the latest news updates from across the continent. Stay with us and do not go anywhere.
Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse with Ebide, the show where truth meets urgency and action meets hope. Together, we decode the data, amplify the change makers, and reclaim Africa's future, one story at a time. This is not just a show, it is a movement. Welcome to the Pulse. Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse.
Welcome back from the short break, and just before we set out, I gave 2 major things happening in September in Africa. That's the UNFCCC Climate Week, and of course the African Climate Summit, the second season of it, and it's happening live in Ethiopia. So now the latest news. Let me give you the headlines that are shaping this historic moment. Now, the UNFCCC Climate Week and the African Climate Summit. The Climate Weeks scheduled for 2025 are strategically aligned with the intergovernmental processes under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and the Paris Agreement, playing a key role in translating global climate decisions into concrete actions on the ground. But these aren't just, regular conferences. The Africa Climate Week is built around what the UNFCCC calls implementation labs, practical hands-on sessions that dive deep into climate finance access, agricultural transformation, education, energy transition pathways, and of course, sustainable urban development, and crucially, the meaningful inclusion of women, youth, and indigenous peoples in climate solutions. Now, think of it as Africa's climate solutions marketplace, where innovations meet policy, where grassroots meets government, where local successes become global models. The Africa Climate Summit 2, a continental declaration conveyed by the African Union and the Ethiopian government, the second African Climate Summit, provides a platform for policymakers, practitioners, businesses, and civil society to actually advance Africa's climate agenda and sustainable development priorities. The summit seeks to empower communities, especially youth and indigenous groups, while fostering fair partnerships and catalyzing bold financial and political commitments. But here's the strategic thing, very, very strategic thing, between the two dialogues. That's September 5th to 7th, and of course, September 8th to 10th. It will offer youth, communities, and marginalized voices to set the tone and direction for the three-day summit. Ethiopia's strategic positioning. Ethiopia has been undertaking various endeavors to ensure the ambition of realizing climate resilient green economy. And trust me, it will actually enable Ethiopia to host the second African Climate Summit in an excellent way. And this isn't coincidental. Ethiopia chose this moment to showcase that climate resilient development looks exactly what it is in practice, positioning itself as the bridge between Africa's climate ambitions and actionable solutions. Now, the continental context, the ACS, is a platform for unifying Africa's voice and leadership in global climate action, advancing African-led climate solutions, and catalyzing bold financial and political commitments. Now, this builds directly on the first African Climate Summit in Nairobi, where Africa demanded fundamental reforms in global climate finance architecture. And now we're not just demanding, we are demonstrating alternative pathways. Now the deep dive here is, now let's take it just slow on the deep dive. We're to explore why this dual event, is happening at Addis Ababa, what it represents. The truth is, it actually represents a masterclass in climate diplomacy and African leadership. And why are these two events happening at the same time? Why does it matter? Why not just have one big summit? The answer reveals Africa's sophisticated approach to climate leadership. Climate Week as the People's Laboratory. The UNFCCC Africa Climate Week serves as a foundation, the space where real solutions are tested, refined, and proven. Now, where you bring together youth innovators, piloting solar microgrids in rural areas, women farmers redefining climate-smart agriculture in Kenya's droughts, and of course, the urban planners from Lagos experimenting with green public transport systems. You're creating something powerful, proof of concept at scale. Now, these events actually ensures that the subsequent summit isn't dominated by politicians making abstract commitments. No, but it's actually informed by people living the reality of climate change and creating the solutions. The summit as a continental megaphone. That's what it is. The summit will be structured around nature and technology-based solutions to drive adaptation, development, and resilience one day at a time. Adaptation and resilience, spotlighting Africa's climate risk and scalable responses on day 2. And of course, the climate finance and African-led solutions, shifting them from aid to investment on day 3. Just 2 days after Climate Week concludes, the summit takes all of that grassroots momentum and channels it into the high-level commitments, policy frameworks, and crucial financing decisions. Now, the financing revolution strategy, let's be honest here, honestly. I mean, about the elephant in the room. Africa doesn't lack climate solutions at all. We don't lack climate solutions. In fact, we have enough of it. We lack accessibility, just and adequate financing. So, current climate finance flows to Africa, are far below what we need. Many loans come into prohibitive interest rates, and many commitments made at global conferences remain unfulfilled. The dual event strategy addresses this systematically. So during the Climate Week, practical solutions will be demonstrated with clear cost breakdowns, proven impact metrics, and scalability pathways. By the time summit leaders sit down to negotiate, they won't be discussing abstract possibilities. They will be looking at bankable projects with proven track record. And so, at the African Climate Summit, climate leaders will champion new global financing systems and accelerate climate adaptation, mitigation, and green growth. This represents a shift from Africa requesting climate finance to Africa presenting investment opportunities in climate solutions. Now, here's the trick. The strategic timing and location and why Addis Ababa, why September 2025, isn't just Ethiopia's capital at all. It's not just, Addis Ababa is not just Ethiopia's capital, it's the diplomatic capital of Africa home. That is where we have the African Union. And already it's a hub for continental policy coordination. So when Africa speaks with one voice from Addis Ababa, the world listens differently. Now, the timing is equally strategic. September 2025 positions these events perfectly between the major global climate negotiations, allowing Africa to set the agenda rather than react to agendas set elsewhere. From victim narrative to leadership narrative, for decades, for many decades, the global climate conversation, actually positioned Africa as the victim, the continent that contributed least to the problems but suffered the most. This dual event happening in September represents a decisive shift from that narrative. Africa is not waiting. The second African Climate Summit brings together leaders, innovators, and communities to drive Africa-led action, resilience, and of course, sustainable development. We're not waiting for permission to innovate. No. We're not waiting for others to solve problems we can solve ourselves. Absolutely not. We are demonstrating leadership, showcasing solutions, and demanding the financing and partnerships necessary to scale that work. Now, the implementation labs model, now here's what it makes African Climate Week look actually. The implementation labs approach actually, so instead of talking all the time, what's going to be about is, it should be about what should be done. And participants will actually walk through how to actually do it. So imagine a lab where Nigerian solar entrepreneurs share lessons with Ethiopian irrigation specialists, where South African urban planners collaborate with Senegalese waste management innovators, where Kenyan fintech developers work with Ghanaian agricultural cooperatives. Now, this isn't networking, this solution engineering at continental scale. So we're going to a very short break now, and when we are back, we'll actually discuss the practical implication and of course the personal call to action. Let's weigh where we are and where we are headed. Please stay with us and let's join the conversation.
Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide, the show where truth meets urgency and action meets hope. Together, we decode the data, amplify the change makers, and reclaim Africa's future, one story at a time. This is not just a show, it is a movement. Welcome to the Pulse. Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still.
Welcome back from that very short break. And just before we took off, for the short break, we're talking about the dual events happening in Ethiopia this September, from September 1st to September 10th. And of course, we have the UNFCCC, Climate Week, and we also have the Africa Climate Summit happening 8th to 10th. And we're talking about, what it means for the continent to speak in one voice, talking about the just transitions. And of course, we are actually at the point where we're looking at the practical implications and the personal call to action. So, what does this dual climate movement mean for you? You're listening right now, you're asking, what does it mean? How is it my business? Now, so whether you are in Lagos, Nairobi, Cape Town, or anywhere across the continent. For individuals and communities, please stay connected. These aren't distant diplomatic events. The solutions being discussed and scaled will affect energy access in your community. Yes. Job opportunities in green sectors and food security strategies in your region. Follow the outcomes actively. The implementation labs will produce practical toolkits and frameworks that communities can adapt locally. Yes. Now, support local innovation. Look around your community. Is there a youth-led climate initiative? A women's cooperative trying sustainable farming? A local business exploring renewable energy? Support them. The global conversation only makes sense when it translates to local impact. Raise your voice, whether on social media, community radio, or local associations. Add your voice to this continental climate leadership movement. Share stories of local climate solutions. Demand accountability from leaders attending this summit. Now, for young Africans like myself, you are not the leaders of tomorrow, you are the leaders driving today's climate solutions. The dual event strategy specifically creates space for youth voices to shape high-level policy. The September gatherings represent your moment to influence continental and global climate action. Engage with online discussions, support peers attending different events, and use this momentum to amplify local climate initiatives. Now, for entrepreneurs and businesses, the shift from aid to investment creates unprecedented opportunities. The solutions demonstrated during Climate Week and the financing commitments made during the summit will open new markets, create new partnerships, and establish new investment flows. So now, position your business to benefit from the contributions. I mean, these conversations would lead to the major contributions. Now, my personal challenge to you is that September 2025 isn't just Africa's climate moment. It's your climate moment. Don't be a bystander to history. Don't let this dual event strategy succeed without your participation, your voice, your energy. By all means, share this episode as well, because these conversations need to reach every corner of our continent. Engage with discussions happening all around, Africa when it has to do with, the Climate Week. Support local initiatives in your community. And most importantly, hold leaders accountable for the commitments they make in Addis Ababa. Yes. So as they are coming back, you're asking questions. Demand that ambitious words translate into actions you can see in your daily life. And of course, as we wrap up today's episode, the truth is we can't say this enough, and we can't drive these conversations enough. I want you to remember that this dual climate moment happening in Addis Ababa represents more than just policy coordination. No, it represents Africa claiming our rightful place as climate solution leaders. And so, from September 1st to 10th, 2025, the world's attention will be on Africa, not as a victim of climate change, but as the architect of climate solutions. Now, this has been Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide, and as usual, we won't leave here without giving you practical tips on what you should do and how to drive your own personal initiative towards sustainability. So do not forget, as usual, try within your own sphere, your own corner, your own place of work, whether it's your office, whether it's your business space, whether it's your even marketplace, your shop. As simple as using reusable bags. Reject and refuse single use. Refuse to use one single-use plastic. Refuse the bags. Create your own sustainable bags for shopping. Turn off your lights by all means. Use a water bottle instead of using several bottles. Use a particular water bottle you can use, as your own water bottle for drinking water. By all means, reduce plastic. The truth is, like I keep saying, is the earth won't stand still, to be honest. The world will not stand still. The earth will not stand still. The environment will not stand still. We have to take action. And the truth is, as you're taking action, you're actually saving your own life. So these conversations will continue by all means. Like I keep saying, Take it from here to the next person. Tell your colleagues, your friends, your father, your mother, your siblings, on your WhatsApp groups, all those your very many, bulk messages. Send them to those groups. Talk about climate change. Talk about living sustainably. And so thank you for spending this entire 25-30 minutes with me, and of course the whole idea of exploring the conversations around climate change, and of course the practical tools you're to take within Africa, within your home, within Nigeria, within Lagos, Benue, Edo State, wherever you find yourself. It is possible. And remember that sustainability isn't just a pulse, it's actually the heartbeat of our survival and our thriving future. And in September 2025, that heartbeat will be the strongest in Addis Ababa. Africa will be speaking at one voice, in one voice for the continent. And so until next time, keep that pulse strong, keep pushing for action over ambition, and keep believing that in Africa, in the continent, we are building together. And of course, until next time on Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide, every Mondays and Wednesdays, of course, between 9 o'clock to 9:30, we are here to unpack the real conversations around the environment, our earth, and of course, of our continent. Stay with us and do not leave. Do not forget, living sustainably is as good as you saving your life. Thank you, and have a blessed week.
In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future. In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream, GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future. In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream, GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future. In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream, GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future. In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream, GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future. In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays.
Hello and welcome to Agriculture for Today and Tomorrow. Here we promote smart solutions for greener harvest. I remain Daniel Black, your host, and this is a Media for Agricultural Development project of GSAI. Warm appreciation to our sponsors, Growth for Sustainable Agriculture Initiative, for continually bringing this show as a means to educate, sensitize, and promote agricultural trends, news, and innovations to help inform the public on how to be part of the food security drive. Today, we'll be talking on agribusiness investment potential in Nigeria. A whole lot of people have heard the drive, the craze about agriculture, and they would like to invest in agriculture, but they are want as to where do I invest in, how do I invest in, what do I invest in. Today, we have taken it upon ourselves to explore the value chain, the agribusiness landscape of Nigeria, to maybe give insights as to where and how. This may not necessarily be a financial advice or an investment advice, but we want to hold your hands and explore what the agribusiness value chain of Nigeria looks like, and then begin to understand how investment can come into play. Of course, Nigeria stands as one of the most promising agribusiness frontiers in Africa, with Nigeria's agriculture is contributing over 23% of Nigeria's GDP. Agriculture is contributing over 23% of Nigeria's GDP and more than 35% of labor workforce. That's a big one. Agriculture alone is contributing 35% of the labor workforce in Nigeria. That is to show you how expansive the agricultural sector can be. And of course, the country also boasts of 84 million hectares of arable land, but less than half of that. So we have over 42 million hectares of land, uncultivated arable land. This is not a combination of all lands. I'm telling you, the arable lands available for cultivation, we have over 42 million hectares of land uncultivated, which opens Nigeria, which opens the agribusiness landscape to a vast level of possibilities and opportunities for expansion. And then, of course, we know that Nigeria, it has a population of 220 million, and there is a projected wish to reach 400 million by 2050. So we have an ever-expanding consumer market, an ever-expanding processing market, and then despite being the world's largest producer of cassava, yam, cowpea, Nigeria remains a net importer of food, spending over $10 billion annually on agricultural imports. So this highlights the significant opportunities for investment in crop production. If we, as a net producer of cassava, yam, and cowpea, we are still importing food, it shows that there is a very big gap. There is a very, very big gap that is needed for business investors to come in into the agribusiness landscape, or in livestock, in fisheries, in agro processing, and on all of that. Then finally, or not necessarily finally, but in this introduction, combined with access to ECOWAS sub-regional market, the ECOWAS Economic Community of West African States, having that free pass as is agreed using the ECOWAS passport, and over 400 million consumers in the emerging African Continental Free Trade Agreement, that's the AfCFTA framework, Nigeria presents an unparalleled platform for investors seeking both profitability and impact in agribusiness. This shows how unique Nigeria is, how strategic Nigeria is in the agribusiness sector of Africa, and how it poses a very, very veritable opportunity for investors to make profits and make impact in the food production space. We'll be going on a short break. When we come back, we'll go into major unique characteristics of the agribusiness landscape in Nigeria.
In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream, GS.
Welcome back from that short break. Still agriculture for today and tomorrow, where we promote smart solutions for greener harvest. Before we continue on our topic today, GSAI has a very big announcement coming in, and in our subsequent episodes we'll be giving you that announcement. Ensure to always tune in, ensure to always be with us to hear that announcement, which is very, very important, very, very strategic for the agribusiness landscape of Nigeria. Back to our topic today, the agribusiness potential of Nigeria, and we have done more like an overview of the potentials available in Nigeria. So let's just go into a bit of unique features before we call it a wrap. Number one is the market size and demand. We've already talked about the population of Nigeria, 220 million Nigerians, 220 million people living in Nigeria, which is the largest in Africa. That on its own is a market that every potential investor, every potential businessman should look at and know that that is a market he or she can comfortably satisfy and profitably also satisfy. If you go into that, you will have also an urbanization shift, even in this population that is growing with a projected rate of 400 million in 2050. Urbanization shift. We have so many young people, so many people going into the urban sector, urban township with rapid growth driving demand for processed, packaged, and convenience food. So yes, with so many people going into the urban lifestyle, there is a growing demand for processed food. So many people do not have direct access to raw food as they usually had a raw farm produce directly from the farm anymore. So there is a demand for processed food. It's important that investors begin to see a gap here where they begin to produce more processed, more safe food for consumers. And then of course there's a rising middle class. Increasing disposable incomes are boosting consumption of dairy, poultry, fish, fruits, and processed foods. These are all opportunities that an investor can decide to tap in. Secondly, we also have arable land and natural resources. We've already discussed about 84 million hectares of arable land with 50% currently uncultivated. An investor, a strategic investor, can look into that and see how we can cultivate a mass number of land. We have vast agroecological zones that support diverse crops. In Nigeria alone, you can have places that are supporting rice, maize, sorghum. You have places that are supporting tubers, cassava, yam, potatoes. You have oil seeds like soybeans, groundnut, palm. You have fruits and vegetables all being supported in the Nigerian climate. So there is a wide variety of crops and produces that can be cultivated in Nigeria. That is a strategic opportunity. You are not limited to just one type of product. You can produce a whole lot. And most of these things that are being produced also have some very, very high export value. So that is an opportunity that, and then water resources. We have multiple river basins in Nigeria. We have the Niger, we have the Benue, we have the Chad. So irrigation and aquaculture is something that can actually serve as an advantage for investors. Then a third thing we also look at is the youth and labor force advantage. Nigeria has a vast number of youth. Nigerian youthful population from 18 and above is a huge labor pool for modern agriculture and agri-tech. We have very young people, very innovative young people that are creating things in the agri-tech space. We have people that can be innovative, the energy needed for the modern, for sustainable and climate smart agriculture. Nigeria has such talent. Nigeria has such labor force that can support any investment, any business that is trying to build. Agribusiness presents opportunities for youth entrepreneurship, mechanized farming, logistics, and digital agricultural solutions. Nigeria has this in abundance. The youth labor force is in abundance and will always be available to support businesses that come. And then of course there are a vast number of untapped value chains from crop production, livestock and dairy, fisheries and aquaculture, horticulture, agro processing. There is a whole lot of untapped potentials in this value chain. So you can come in as a primary producer, you can come in as a processor, you can come in as a distributor, you can come in as a logistics specialist, you can come in as a trader, a commodity trader. There is a vast, you can come in as a financier, you can come in as an insurance broker, you can come in as a business development officer, all in the agricultural value chain. And like I discussed with some young people over the days, a few weeks ago, you can come in even as an agricultural journalist, you can come in as an agricultural media professional. Different skills needed to grow and groom the agricultural business landscape in Nigeria are very, very much untapped and are available for people to invest in. Having an agricultural media conscious, media focused outfit that is focused on developing media information communications for agricultural growth and agricultural awareness would be a very, very profitable and welcome opportunity. Before we wrap up, we have regional and export opportunities in Nigeria. So Nigeria is a gateway to Africa, West Africa's 400 million consumers with access to ECOWAS trade agreements. Of course, we also have strong export opportunities in cocoa, sesame, cashew, ginger, hibiscus, and palm oil. The African Free Continental Trade Zone trade agreement that I had mentioned earlier is also a veritable opportunity. It opens new markets, makes the market more open. We are talking about 400 million in West Africa. It goes a whole lot higher than that by the time you begin to tap into the AFCTA. So the market is very, very wide and very, very available. So we also have technology and innovation potential. There is a rapid rise in agri-tech in Nigeria, and that is an opportunity. Farmers are beginning to adopt technological solutions to their farm problems. We are beginning to see tech farm management apps. We are beginning to see farm inventory, tech inventory apps. We are beginning to see business management apps, and so many apps that solve problems in the agricultural land space, and these are coming up. So are you an investor? Are you thinking, how and where do I come in? How and where do I come in? These are very many much more opportunities, very many much more unique features in the agricultural landscape are places that you can come in. That is the much we can take on agriculture for today and tomorrow. In our next episode, we'll be making a major announcement. Hoping you will be there to listen to that announcement. And if you have more ways people can invest in agriculture in Nigeria, please follow us on social media. Put it out on social media, and the conversation will continue there. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at GSA Initiative, on all social media platforms. I remain Daniel Black, your host on agriculture for today and tomorrow. See you in the next episode.
In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream, GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future.